Ciao, lovelies. I am inside today. It is raining. I mean, it's gonna thunder, so that's awesome. But I'm stuck inside, which is never bonus points in my book. Ever. Ever. Lighting's all weird. Using my hair as a shield. Let me know when you jump on if you are hashtag Team Live or hashtag Team Replay. I do like to know. I want to welcome you to the live training, and feel free to comment, join in, ask questions. I will do what I can to answer all of them during this video, or I will post later with whatever questions I'm not able to. That way everyone does get their questions answered. I always try to do that if possible. Ciao. Ciao. Weekend's about over. I know, I said it out loud. I'm making it real. Kinda sorry. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. Today's training is going to be about the balancing your sexual geometry concept that I've come up with. It is something I am very excited about, and I just am looking forward to getting to share all the little details and give you an idea of what it's about so we can see if you're a good fit. Ciao. Let me know if you're hashtag Team Live or hashtag Team Replay. Got my notes over here. The definition of sexual geometry that I've come up with is the relation shape between your head, your heart, your private parts. And it is one of the most important relationships that you have. The one with me, myself, and I. That's the most important one. That's the one I take care of the most. That's the one I spend the most time on. It is super important. Super important. Super important. If we haven't met yet, I'm called Reverend Sky. I'm a practitioner, coach, counselor, blah, blah, blah. Titles. I am currently in the Indianapolis area, and I run a group online coaching program called Balancing Your Sexual Geometry. Basically, I help those that think they need to be perfect and give them the tools to rock their skin suit without years of therapy. It's a lot of fun. Today's training is, one more again, about balancing your sexual geometry. The concept I've come up with. It is an online group coaching program where I help those that are looking to rock their skin suit, but I can help you do it without paying for years of therapy, which, you know, therapy's fantastic, but in my opinion, if you're going to be a counselor and you're going to help somebody move forward, my goal is not to have you work with me for an extended amount of time. If I'm working with you for years, then obviously I'm not helping. So, you know, I figured we set it to a time frame. I am able to do what I'm able to do, and then you get to move forward with the rest of your life and let the rest, all that crap go. You know, fun stuff. And fun stuff. Super excited about this. If you might be as excited as I am, drop down excited in the comments for me. I'll give everybody a second to get on and comment. Ooh, I need a drink. Such a good week. Super productive. If you have any wins this week, absolutely feel free to share with the group below. That is good stuff, and we do like to share because we do support our friends, and we're happy when they're happy. And when they win, we win. So it's a good thing. As I have looked at my own journey with body image and sexuality and self-confidence, mine has taken some huge hits over the years. So no, you're not alone. This is something that a lot of people deal with. I didn't even fully accept that I was a female until I was 40. Because I had kids and I've had lumpectomies from breast cancer, my breast, as far as I was concerned, from when I had my first kid at 21 on, were horrible, and it was something that really bothered me, and it was something that made me think, well, as far as I'm concerned, take them, and I can just go around bare-chested. That would be awesome. Doesn't change who I am. I might change how I look. But for me, that was going to give me more freedom, because I didn't have to worry about, breast and what they represented for people and the whole sexuality of it. So I actually considered that. But when I hit my 40s, I started doing some deep diving and wondering what was going on. And one of my favorite things to say is, you can complain about something in your life. If you don't like the way your arm jiggles or whatever the case is, you can complain about it. You don't have to be happy with it. But at the same time, that just keeps you stuck. So if you're not happy about it, let's do something about it. Then you become happy about it, and then it doesn't become a complaint, and then it doesn't become a superimposed thought that you have for the rest of the day, all day, every day. Well, that is something that happened to me with my chest. I got a breast tuck last year. I don't know if anyone knew or even paid attention, but I got a breast tuck. And after the breast tuck, I realized that I've had body dysmorphia since I was in my early 20s. I quite literally looked at my breast as something that they were not at all. In my head, all I could see was 90-year-old granny, and that's all I could see. And it was to the point where I was going to remove them. Well, I went and talked to a doctor, and I thought, okay, well, if I'm going to complain this much, it's been 20 some years, let me fix it. So I went to the doctor, got the breast tuck, and after the breast tuck, I was thinking the exact same thing. They're not right. This is wrong. This is wrong. Like, this does not look right. They're still not pretty. There's still something wrong. Long story short, after doing some research, after looking at natural women's breast and looking at normal breast and average sizes, I was looking at average measurements from here to here. I was looking at here to here. I was looking at everything to figure out what I was seeing, why what I was seeing was wrong. And can I just tell you that when I had seen my chest for the last time, as I thought they were supposed to be, I was 20 years old. Those puppies were up and pretty, and I was a C, and everything was fantastic. But then 2 kids with breastfeeding, a lumpectomy on one side, 2 lumpectomies on the other side, I was convinced that they were useless. And then even after the breast tuck, they were useless. But I was seeing a 20-year-old. I was thinking I needed to look like that 20-year-old, not like a 40-year-old that had had kids and had gone through some surgeries. Can I just tell you that I was absolutely dumbfounded? My sister was the one that said, the last time you saw your boobs in the mirror and they looked good when you were 20 years old. You're not 20 anymore. And it was like, not kidding. I had had body dysmorphia with my chest for over 20 years because I thought something that was so far off, but I was holding on to it like a freaking candy bar when you're hungry. It took me that long and plastic surgery to figure that out. And now I'm like, okay, so my actual thought is, boobs are weird. I don't care what you say. I don't care if you like them. I don't care if you don't like them. I think they're fine, but they're weird. When I run, there's thing like moving, and they're a little weird to get used to. And the fact that mine are okay now, like, I'm wearing this shirt and I'm okay with this because, well, I would have worn it before, but I don't look at myself like I did before. And it took that long and freaking ridiculous things for me to get over that. So just know you're not alone. Even if you think there's something wrong with you, probably not. So that's why it helps to have somebody else say, nah, you're dumb, you're beautiful. Or no, I don't care if you think you're heavy, you're still beautiful. It doesn't matter what you look like. It's how you act and who you are. So I still thought I was pretty, except this. Like, everything was, I was okay. I had accepted everything, except I was never going to accept this. And that to me is crazy. Can I just tell you, that's 20 years of my life wasted that you got now in, like, I don't know, how long did that take me? A couple minutes, 3 minutes? Yeah. So 20 years of my life I'm sharing. Just saying. This is another hashtag don't be like Sky moment, because that was in my head. That was in my head for so long. And it doesn't help that I had somebody in my ear telling me that they did look like what I thought they did. And it didn't help that after the breast tuck, I was specifically told to my face that I should have gotten them bigger, I should have done more, and should have made them better. So, if you have people like that in your life, try not to conversate with them, because I wasted 20 some years of my life looking at myself wrong, and that's just horribly sad. So there's that. That's real. That just happened. Like, you never are going to be perfect with everything on you, and that's all right. But as long as you're good with a good 90% of it, you can't complain about much. Really, you can't. All right. Point number 1 on that note is your head. It is the body dysmorphia. It is the I don't feel in control. It is I'm not lovable. It is these things that you've been told that aren't true. The term false belief is going to fall into play here. Only a couple times, because I'm not a real fan of it. But the whole I'm worthless, I'm not pretty, I'm not good enough, these are all things in your head that either you tell yourself repeatedly because you've been told it repeatedly, or you were told it once and you believed it and now it's on repeat, and the patterns in your head, the highway's built, and that's how the loop goes. You can fix that. It took me a long time to fix some of these things, but I am sharing what I'm sharing, and I've been able to come up with this because of it. And I don't mind sharing that I'm not perfect. I don't mind sharing that I've gone through these struggles, because it's made me better. And if I can help somebody else just from what I've been through myself, what's more cool than that? What else we got? Ooh, emotions are bad. We're told that if you're sad, suck it up, buttercup, smile and fake it till you make it. All right, well, to a point, yes. Don't walk around mean mugging people. That's not fun. But you can have bad days and it be a bad day. You can also have a bad hour instead of a bad day. But we'll get to that. They happen to everybody, everywhere, every time, everything, all the time. It happens. That in itself, you are not alone in. That is one thing that you need to know, that across the board, everyone has those emotions. Everyone has those thoughts. Everyone has the thing, the tape recorder that just is playing and playing and playing. Everyone has it. The only difference between somebody and somebody else is they stop the pattern. They put a new cycle on repeat. They start adding positives in. That is the only difference. That is the only difference. The pretty thing, God, it's just like, even on social media now, if you're not perfect and you're not this and you're not that, then you should just roll over and live the rest of your life in your bed, because you're done. That's it. You're not pretty enough, so you're not worthless. You're not, I swear to God. Whether or not you are attractive to somebody else is their problem, not yours. The way that you see you in the mirror is the only important thing. Because if you get there and you're solid here, then it doesn't matter what anyone else says to you. You'll look back in the window or the mirror or the whatever you're looking at, and you'll be like, oh yeah, that's right. I still look just like what I thought. I don't know what they're thinking. There's a lot But your head, that's how it works. It goes and it goes and it goes. And it's just something that can be stopped and it can be changed and the pattern can be corrected. And that's the fun part. That, it doesn't have to be like this all the time. Anxiety can stop. It can lessen. You can work with it, and it doesn't have to be as difficult as, it's made out to seem. That's why I'm doing this more of a mythology than doing it like points at school. This is more of something I've been through, and I was able to put it together and package it up for other people so they don't have to go through all the crap that I've been through and fail at all the things I've failed at and miss out on so many things just because they were told something as a kid. So, no, you're not alone. If any of that sounds like you, give me a yes in the comments. We know it's all more than one of us. Ciao, lovelies. All right, next one. It's your heart. Is your heart fragile? Have you been hurt? Are there things that you just don't open up to? Have you built walls? Are people do you keep people over there instead of sitting next to them and chatting with them? Normal, especially if there's trauma. Or if anything that's happened to you, anything that's been said, all of those things, they settle and they stay. They don't go anywhere. Not unless you look at them, which isn't comfortable. But if you ever said anything like, I don't feel lovable, no one will love me, I don't think I'm sexy, I have to be perfect for someone to love me, I can't do this alone, I can't handle my emotions, I don't know how to be angry, I don't know. Can I just tell you why you don't know? Simply because you haven't been taught yet. These are communication and tools and learning how to handle happy, mad, sad, fear, frustrated are all things we should have been taught in our youth, but a lot of us aren't. And that is super sad. So, when I was, I want to say 11, 12, 13, somewhere in, I'm not real sure when it started, to be completely honest, but I turned to anorexia athletica at a very young age. It was before I was a teenager, and instead of dealing with stuff, I would basically go and hit a volleyball against a wall, a cement wall, and just hit it and hit it and hit it and bounce it up and do different things until my arms were so bruised that I couldn't do it anymore and I was crying. I never drew blood because then it would have been noticed more. But my having bruises from sports was never a big deal because I was in so many. It wasn't paid attention to. But I was also told I had to be perfect. I had to look a certain way. I had to act a certain way. I wasn't to embarrass anybody. It was very hard growing up thinking I was never going to be good enough. So I thought in sports, maybe I could be. Maybe I can get good at all of them and just, there'd be no complaints. It wasn't that way. But I ended up with a lot of bruises and I ended up tearing my body up. And I'm paying for it now because I have a bunch of pain diagnoses. So really preferably don't do that kind of stuff. It is simply something to get you away from the emotion, but if I had dealt with it when I was a teenager, I wouldn't have dealt with all the crap in my 20s that I had to. It took me, I think my kids, okay, if they were born in 98, then it would have been 2008. I can't do math. I think I was 35, 30? I was in my early 30s when I realized that I had a real problem with eating and working out, and that those were my thing. Those were my go-tos. If I got hungry, I went and worked out. So it took me a long time to realize that was all in my head, just something else I'd been told that I hung on to, which makes no sense. Makes no sense to me. All right, we are halfway. We are halfway. If you are still with me, if you're still alive in here, write halfway in the comments. I'll give you a couple minutes. Oh, I'm gonna get a drink while we're thinking of it. You just jumped on? Right, halfway. We are halfway. If you are on the replay, drop me a 3 for 0.3. I don't know if I like being in here. Alright, that's fine. Alright. Nah. 0.3, the fun one. Okay. Nobody will love me because some part of my body is not perfect. There are rules to follow in relationships. It's not normal. Sexuality isn't learned. Don't talk about needs, wants, or fantasies. Your private parts. And that can be whether you're solo or with your partner. Just, we all go through these things where we feel like we're not good enough, where we feel like we have to be to a certain point in our life before we can get into a relationship. We have to be a certain height or a certain weight, or we can't be disabled. We can't have any illnesses. We can't have fear. What else I got? Low self-esteem, emotional triggers, religious views, your age. There are so many things wrapped around with our sexuality that are just absolutely restraining us from being sexual. And I don't mean go out there and sleep with everybody. And I don't mean go out there and wear the shortest, smallest things you can wear. I mean wearing a suit and feeling powerful and sexy because you know you are. I mean putting on an old tank top and an old pair of shorts and going out and gardening and still feeling powerful and sexy because that's what you are. Or strong. Or putting on that one jacket that just makes you feel like you're it for the day. That's all it is. We all deserve to feel that way about ourselves. We all deserve to look in the mirror and be like, hell yeah, and then go about our day. These things as far as weight and height and I'm not lovable and my body has to be perfect, that none of this is true. None of this is true. Do you really think the person that falls in love with you is going to assume you're perfect? We're human. The fun thing about being human is that we're not perfect, and we know nobody else is perfect. And although expectations can change, and we may expect people to be perfect, we know it's not going to happen. That's just the reality. It's not going to happen. All right. Done. Because, if we expect somebody else to be perfect, that means that we have to be perfect. And that's a lot of stress that I'm not really willing to work with. It's too much. You have flaws. You have things that aren't perfect, that aren't up to par, that are hidden, that you don't want to talk about. But I don't understand why you don't want to talk about them. Because if you don't talk about them, then you don't acknowledge them, then you can't work on them, then you can't fix them, then you can't stop the pattern. This could be generational. It could be from your childhood. It could be trauma as an adult. It could be trauma from relationships. It could be trauma from anyone in your life. But saying things like, I'm not lovable because I have a disability. I am not lovable because I think this way. Or I'm not lovable because this part of my body is not perfect. These things are not right. And I think you know better. But I don't think that you actually believe that it works for you like it would for somebody else. Do you look at your friends and say, no, I don't like the way that looks. I just don't like it. And then you're not their friend anymore? No. Do you really think someone looks at you and says these things? And if they are, then they're obviously not the person that you want around. So let's find better people. Let's find better partners. Let's find out what about us is bringing these kind of people to us. Because I see myself as a mirror. And if you look at me and you see funny, then guess what? I'm going to assume you're entertaining. If you look at me and you see, I don't know, fun hair, I'm either going to guess you have none, or you have great hair and you just don't see it, but you saw it on me. So what you see here is actually what's in you. That's all this is. FYI. That's all this is. God gave me the ability to do that, and I love it. Because when someone says something to me, I'm like, oh, that's right. I see it. I see you. I see you. You pretty. I get it. I'm really not. Like, I'm all crooked, but you know what? It's all in the eye of the beholder, and I gotta tell you, there are a lot of beautiful people out there. All right, we'll jump into point 4. The tools for your toolbox. These are exercises from spiritual practices that I have studied over the years. And I'm going to do a range of spiritual practices. I'm not going to use the terminology from them because as far as I'm concerned, if they work, they work. Across the board, I don't care who created it. I don't care where it comes from. I don't really care about the background original story. If it is an exercise, a tool, a technique, something that I can use to do better, be better, live better, then I use it. And that's some of the things that I'll be sharing with you guys, is what you can use on a day-to-day basis, week-to-week basis, month-to-month basis for you specifically. Because not everyone needs the same thing. Not everyone can sit down and meditate quietly by themselves in a quiet room. You don't have to do that. You don't have to make this difficult. You can sit down and listen to music that really does something for you. Gardening is a form of meditation. Working with your hands with no distractions is a form of meditation. It's called a flow state. It's when you get into the flow, when you get into the groove, and everything disappears except what you're doing. That's technically meditation. Same, different word. That's why I'm going to try and use as layman's terms as I am able to use. That way everyone understands when I say quiet time with yourself, that's how you spend quiet time with yourself. Is it reading a book? Is it watching the birds? Is it taking a walk? Is it exercising in any shape or form? Is it taking a nap? That's all it is. This is something for you. These are tools that you can use for the rest of your life. I always add tools to my toolbox. You'll hear me say that. But these are things that you can use. You know, communication styles. If you don't feel like you are able to openly communicate your needs, whether it be to family, a partner, coworkers, whoever, we're going to talk about that. We're going to sit down and see exactly what's going on and why you feel that way. And we'll get to the root of the problem and figure out what was going to work for you, because that's not what's going to work for for everybody else. Or it might for a couple people, but this is about you. This is about you and you having a support team and you knowing you're not alone and us holding your hand through it. Thinking that no one's going to understand, if you think that you are the only one and it's never happened ever before until you came, then I am sorry to tell you that you are wrong. You are sadly mistaken. You are not the first, and you will definitely not be the last. Part of what a lot of people are doing is trying to get others in their lives, to see what's going on so this doesn't continue. Because some of these patterns are just passed on and passed on and passed on, and if we can break them this go round, then our kids aren't going to have to deal with this. And FYI, like, my kids are 24 and 25. As I learn stuff, I pass it on so they don't have to go through the bull crap. that's a bonus. You can help others in your life learn and share these tools, and they won't have to go through all the hard work you did, but they will at least have things that they can use daily to get them through things. And that was one of the questions. This doesn't take all of your time. It's going to be however long it needs to be for you. I'm going to ask for at least 3 times a week that you set some time aside for yourself. But whether you're doing 5 minutes or whether you're doing 10, 15, whatever you want to get up to, that's up to you. Because it is a scientific fact that if you can spend 5 minutes with yourself every day, that things will change. I don't know the science, but it's there. So if that works, let's do that. There are routines, and there are lists, and there are guidelines, and there are exercises and questions and things to get you really digging deep and finding out why you do these things and why it keeps happening, and why 5 whys. You always break it down into 5 whys. Yes. Oh yeah, even in bed. So if you take 20 minutes and take care of your mental or emotional well-being every day, if you do this 15, 20 minutes a day, and it can benefit you, then how can you not? How can you not afford to do something like this and change the rest of your life? And no, you don't have to do that this way anymore. The things that we've been able to go over are the stuff in your head. The I have to be perfect. I am not this. I am not that. These things need to shift. Your heart, where you're thinking you're not in control of what happens to you, of what happens around you. These things are just put in there to make you feel weak. And we need you to be strong going forward. With your private parts, no one will love me. That's another thing. It just rips me apart to think that there are people that sit around thinking that they're alone, that it's no one but them, but they're not willing to do anything different. I am just so excited to be able to do something like this on a bigger scale and to help more people than just doing one-on-ones. And this is going to allow me to get into some people's heads and help them dig deep and get that head, heart, private parts relationship, because everyone's is going to be different. You might be clear in your head, but your heart, you're still unwilling to get out there and give it away. I gotta get comfortable. Sitting on the floor is not for me, apparently. But what if you're okay with the sex part, but your communication style isn't so hot? Then your relationship between these things is going to look different than somebody else's. So what we do is we figure out what yours looks like. And then we make a plan to work it out. Because math can always be figured out. And although I don't put numbers to it, yeah. So the relationship between your head, your heart, and your private parts. And let's see how they work together for you. Because my head was taking over everything else. It took over and everything else didn't matter. So maybe for you it's the other way around. Maybe your heart's taken over and your head means nothing because your heart is this, that, and the other. So let's really dig deep and see. Okay, so if you could look in the mirror, and say, hell yes, but feel stuck because someone told you that you're not pretty enough, or you're not good enough, or you're not hot enough, I want to tell you from experience that it is very, very difficult to get to this place alone. I've been to school, I've had help, I have sought counseling, and I had blind spots, things that I couldn't see just because I was the one in the situation. It always helps to have that third party view. When someone talks about having, a third party in a conversation with a couple, I always volunteer because a third party can see things that you can't. And that's part of what I have to do, is I really have to sit down with you and get to know what's going on so we can put a battle plan together. So you can get clarity and move forward. You might use the mirror exercises. The boundary box I use might be something that changes your brain, because you're like, whoa, I haven't set any boundaries. No wonder people treat me like this. It could be just that small little thing, but it's going to take somebody on the outside to tell you. Because, like, I know with my kids, especially my kids, I'll tell them something 100 times. I went to school. I know stuff. Like, I know exactly what you're talking about. But they don't listen to nothing. Zero, none of that. 2 weeks later, they would come home and say, hey, Mom, my friend's mom said da-da-da-da. Guess what? Same thing I said. But they didn't want to hear it from me because I was close to the situation, because I was mom. So thank God that's changed a little bit now as they got older, but holy Moses, that was such a pain in the butt when they're young. But if you could actually walk up to a mirror and wink at yourself and know that for the rest of your life, you're going to be able to do that and spank your own butt on occasion, would you? Or do you want to fall back into, well, are they right? Am I not pretty? Am I not smart enough? Maybe this isn't, maybe I shouldn't wear stuff like this. Maybe I shouldn't act like this. Maybe I don't need to feel this way. Maybe I'm wrong. No. This is one of my favorite things to chat about, and that's why I did the live, so I could use my words and you guys could see my face, because my main focus on intimacy is your relationship with you and you and you. My main focus in my life is my relationship with me, myself, and I. And those three things are very different, and I talk to them differently, and they talk to each other very differently. And once you get the roadmap, it's a whole lot easier. What I do in the project, Balancing Your Sexual Geometry, is a new standard for busting through the BS. And it's taken me years to put together, but I am excited to be able to finally get to share it with everybody and get to put it out there so I'm able to do bigger stuff. But if you want to rock your skin suit, if you want to have better relationships with yourself and others, if you want to have better sex and be able to communicate your needs, just like I have, by accepting me, myself, and I, above, below, and within, my head, my hearts, and my private parts. Comment below, no repairs needed. No repairs needed. If this is you, then we should chat. This is something you want help with, let me know. If you need to privately message me, not everyone wants to share this, that's okay. You don't need to make it public if you don't want to. But this is the ultimate fast track, because you'll get to integrate all of my knowledge, trials, errors, wins, my education, in a fraction of the time that you've already spent trying to work on this alone. So one of my favorite things, like I said earlier, is hashtag don't be like Sky. Please learn from my mistakes. I am willing to make a complete jackass out of myself. I am willing to share my stories, my fails, my wins. I'm willing to say out loud, hey, I did this and this is what happened. This is how I used to feel. These are things. I'm okay with saying those things because it helps somebody else, because it lets other people know they're not alone. And just because you don't talk about it doesn't mean other people aren't talking about it. So we're going to get this conversation rolling. And I've put together an amazing little group of people that are going to be going through the group, through the project with us. And I am, I've done the stumbling around. I've done the hard work. Now we're going to work together to get you to your goal by realizing how magnificent you are. Right now, right here, right now, today. Are you guys still awake out there? Is everyone gone? If you are here, write "I am magnificent" in the comments. I'm gonna give you a sec to do that. I'm gonna get a drink. This is a lot, I know. That's why I'm just kind of taking it slow. All right. So here's what will happen. Once you reach out, I will send you some pre-qualifying questions so I can kind of get on a good amount of knowledge before we get on the phone call, so we don't have to spend our time doing background and question and answers. Then I will give you an actionable guide that is relevant to you and your life right now. You'll schedule a time to chat with me, and I will be able to give you some clarity, get that action plan, and just give you some tools for you personally going forward. If I can't help you, I have a fantastic support team around me, and I am not afraid to refer someone if I need to. They're absolutely, if I think somebody could be more helpful to you, I will say so. We will speak up. We will not just take your money. That's not what this is about. But not afraid to refer when I need to. But on the same token, if I am confident that I can help, I will say so. I'm doing this so I can help more people. I'm doing this so I can get this out there, because I think this concept is going to help a lot more people see it for what it is. And it's not going to be a mental thing, and it's not going to be a sexual thing. It's going to be all of them together, and it's going to be how they work together and how you break it all apart, and then we can put the puzzle pieces back fresh. So one of the best things that you may do is have commented "no repairs needed." If you have received value from this, then comment value down below and let me know. I dropped some critical bombs today on intimacy and your relationship with yourself, so I'd really enjoy the heads up that, you know, this was worth it for you. So comment value below. Okay. Well, what we'll do is, if you commented "no repairs needed," I will send you the link to schedule a chat with me. The questions I will email to you beforehand. That way we're able to get that stuff, because otherwise I can sit on the phone with you and talk about how many kids you have and some of this other stuff, which isn't the good stuff, I need it for some other reasons, because, you know, you have to do a background with a client. But I send you those beforehand, and you can fill that out, and you can let me know what I need to know. And then when we get on the phone, I go over it, I make sure everything's confirmed, and then I talk. And because I already have some of that, I get the last bit of information, and I'm able to help you move forward with different tools. Whether or not I'm able to help you in the program is a whole different story. We'll still get you some actionable things today that you can use going forward. So that is fantastic, because then you just get to talk to me for a little bit, and if nothing else, learn something new and get some tools in your toolbox, which to me are most important. Besides fixing what you need to fix, there's things you need to know, and there's things you need to be able to use going forward. It helps to have a breathing technique. It helps to have a little mindset twitch or tweak. It helps to know how to do those things. And I know that, you know, you can be taught 100 things by somebody, but if you're not willing to do it, I'm just going to go ahead and say, if you're not willing to make the changes, if you're not willing to be held accountable, while I hold space for you, I will be holding you accountable. And if that's not you, don't schedule a call. Because my plan is to help people change and to help people do and be better and see themselves for who they are today and who they could be going forward. So let's not waste our time. All right, lovelies. Thank you for spending this time with me. Again, I am Reverend Sky, and from my face to yours, I love you. Ciao.